Buenos dias.
So like my neighbor down the street who says it to me every time, and I always say good morning, and then I'm stuck after that. I'm out after that. I have nothing else.
Nothing else.
You know, I only took Spanish like 4 times in high school too. I think I took it 1 year in college. I can understand a lot of Spanish. I can't speak it back at all. You know, but I can understand, especially when people are swearing at me. I can understand. I don't know. Can you speak? Can you speak another language?
I cannot. And you know, it's so pathetic because I grew up with a German, you know, my father's first language was German, but my mom wouldn't allow it in the house because she didn't understand it. So she didn't want us learning it, which is like, that's such a shame that I don't know how to speak it. And then like you, I took many years of it in high school, but I was set schooled, you know, I was like with a tutor, so I could write it really well, but I had nobody to speak it to. There was no teacher speaking it to me. So I never spoke it. So obviously it went like in one ear and out the other. And I could write it really well, could never speak it. So it's a shame. It's just such a shame because I wish my daughter does Duolingo and she does German and Spanish. So I'm like, learn Spanish, go for the Spanish.
Exactly.
So
you know, I'll tell you what, the one thing is when you said you could write it, and I always say this is one of those things that we should take into our language, is in Spanish, you know, they put the question mark before and after when a question's coming, like they prepare you that, hey, this is going to be a question. Like, yeah. And I'm like, this is the way it should be for us, because you'll read something and go, oh shoot, I didn't know that was getting into with a question. So, but I'll go, we should steal it. But I always wonder with people when they speak Spanish and English, you know, equally, I said, in your mind, how do you translate it? Because as you know, when you take Spanish, a lot of things are reversed, or in English, they're reversed, I should say. And how does your brain work? Do you have to switch it in your head one way or another? Which way does your head go? Or I just want to get to the point where I could speak them both, just not even thinking about it. Because, you know, when you and I are talking, you just don't think. I wish I was that good at it.
I don't think I have that kind of brain capacity.
I don't either.
It's
too late for us. I got news for you. It's too.
I'm not that smart. I'm just not. I'm not. I don't have like good recollection. Like I stumble on names of things, and I'm just I'm not really. I struggle with English. Okay.
But you remember scripts, no problem. I mean, most people can't do that. Like, I don't think you understand how hard that is for people to memorize a script.
Well, I mean, that's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, that's why you get the big bucks. That's why you're on TV. That's why you're in the movies. Yeah.
I'm joking.
I think, honestly, Nicole, I think the average person looking at what you do and the people you work with, what they do, the last thing in their mind would be, can I do the acting? Can I sell it, the part, as if, you know, the idea is to make it look like you aren't acting. It's the fear of, can I remember the lines? You know, I mean, it's pretty hard to remember 2 lines, let alone half a page of dialogue.
Well, I don't know. There's some people who are like public speakers, that remember a half hour to an hour worth of stuff. And I don't know. I think it's different for different people, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but check this out.
No way. That is cool.
How cool is that?
That is cool. That is cool.
Perfectly twisted coffee.
It matches perfect in the screen right now too.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Great, right?
That is cool.
And if anybody wants one, message us.
Yeah.
And they're for purchase.
Nice. That is awesome,
right? I thought so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. That is really cool.
Yes. Thanks to John.
That is really
cool.
Thank
you, John. And then I have this product that I wanted to talk about from Trader Joe's, because last time I talked about the retinol cream that you put on at night and it makes your skin peel. Trader Joe's also does this marula facial oil, which it's for $6.99, ladies and gentlemen, $6.99 at Trader Joe's. This is a dupe of Drunk Elephant, which is so expensive. This is $6.99. You'd probably pay $60 for this through Drunk Elephant. But like, I have it on now, so if I look shiny, this helps with like the peeling and stuff that goes afterwards. It's just super moisturizing. So I put it a couple drops with my moisturizer. I put it on and I let it sit for a while. fantastic. And theirs is cold pressed virgin from the seed. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So if you do the retinol, I suggest this to follow up because it's really fantastic and what a good
And
price.
it goes all over your face or
Yeah,
just
you
your
put it
forehead
all
or what?
over.
Okay.
And for under $20 for both of
Yes.
them, you have a whole
Piece of cake.
system going, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So what's going on in the Palais household?
You know what? We're getting ready for a wedding.
Oh,
And
yes.
and so we're basically about 2.5 weeks out for our a wedding, and my oldest son's getting married, and it's a lot. Like when I got married, I literally let my wife handle everything. I don't think I made one decision. And not only is he hands on with his fiance, who's great, but they both have huge families. So when they made their initial list, it was like 500. And I was like, dude, you aren't throwing a 500-person wedding. This is a 4-hour party. And then when you broke down their families, just her family and his family, it's almost 300 right there. So there are very little friends invited. It's basically just, two families getting together. And so there's so many people, unfortunately, that, you left out, that you feel bad with. There are people I've worked with for 30 years who, hey, I can't get you in. And it's a lot. And so, he's made it clear kind of, that, hey, this is, our day. And it's their day. But then you feel guilty. I mean, there are people I've known since I was born that I'm not inviting to the wedding, college roommates, everything else that I'm not inviting. And you feel bad, but again, it's not my day. But we're to the point now where people are starting to, hey, where can I stay? And we're like, man, I thought you would have figured this out. Like, you staying in a hotel, hopefully. And then can we stay with you? And I'm sure her family is going through the same thing too. But already people have started coming in. Now, my mom's the first one who made it. And of course, I'm not going to say no to my mother. She can stay here. But then you got the brother-in-law, then you got the sister-in-law, then you got my kids' college roommates. Then, all of a sudden you have 6 people, extra people in the house. And you're like, it's a lot before we even start, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell happened? I wouldn't be able to deal with that. All those people in my house would drive me insane. I would lose it. Wait a minute. So didn't they get like a hotel to give everybody a package deal?
Yes,
okay,
we
they
did
did
that.
that, and people didn't book, huh?
Some people didn't book. Even my own sister wrote me yesterday and said, hey, I need a hotel. Where do you recommend? And I told you 6 months ago where I'd recommend. This is where we're staying when we go to the venue, because the venue is about 45 minutes away. But even she did it. So I think, I don't want to say people are, look, nobody wants to pay for a hotel. I got it. At the same time, I'm one of those guys that likes to stay in a hotel. I don't want to be in anybody's way. And I kind of like to be on my own schedule. But I think a lot of people just like, I'd rather not spend the money. And it's just easier if I could stay with you. And when you realize there are that many people coming to town, it's family. So what are you going to do? But that's it. 6 is the max. No one's sleeping on a couch. Everyone has a bed, and that's it.
But
And
that's too early to be coming in. I'd be like, okay, you can come in like the day before.
because it's San
You can
Diego.
come in,
Yeah, you know
maybe
what I
2
mean.
days
It's like,
before.
that's the deal. You and I are both in Southern California, and people go, Southern California in the summer sounds pretty nice. There's
Oh,
no
I see.
humidity. The
Right.
weather's good. It's
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 a
basically
vacation
a place where
destination.
people vacation, right? Exactly. So Nicole, that you'll see when if your youngest one decides, hey, mom, I'm still in LA and I'm getting married, guess who's staying with us? And then you got to be the bad guy and who you say no to, and
Right.
it's kind of tough. But there's that line of, I want them in my house kind of a deal. And so, yeah, with my mom, of course, that's that's a no doubter. Of course, she can stay with me, but otherwise, everyone else, you sit there and you go, man, that's a lot. It's a lot.
When you got married to your wife and you said you didn't have any part of it, she made all the decisions. Was that because she wanted it that way, or were you just like, I want nothing to do with this?
Okay, so if I got married today, it would be different. I'd have a lot of input. Now, I was so young. I mean, I got engaged at 19. Who gets engaged at 19?
Right.
It's kind of, I mean, 100% we beat the odds. Um, at 19, got married at 21. So engaged at 19, married at 21, had my son who's getting married at 22. And I'm extremely young. So I didn't know, I didn't think about it. And her family paid for the wedding. And it was kind of like, hey, you're taking care of everything. I have no idea how to put a wedding together. I'll be there, kind of a deal. Now it was, there, of course, there are problems that go on, with the wedding and everything else. But what happened, I'll tell you real quick. So my wife's family is Catholic. My family is Jewish. And we're going to have a priest and have a rabbi there. And the priest was going to marry us, and the rabbi was just going to do a blessing. Well, the priest didn't show up for the wedding. And so all of a sudden, another priest shows up who hasn't met either one of us. And literally, while we're walking down the aisle, they're in front of me. The priest shakes my hand. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Father so-and-so. And he goes, I don't even know these two. And the rabbi goes, I know him. He goes, I tell you what, why don't you do the ceremony and I'll do the blessing? And my wife's family was furious. Thought I arranged it, like I pulled a trick on them. And the whole time I'm getting married, I'm looking at my mother-in-law, and she's looking at me like Clint Eastwood, like she's just going to kill me. And it was uncomfortable. The whole wedding was uncomfortable because she's just staring me down. Thought I had this up my sleeve the entire time. But nothing goes smooth in a wedding. Nothing ever goes smooth.
No, and they're so expensive. Yeah. We talked about this. I think it was like a year ago. Honestly, I think it's been a year at least. And I was talking about that. I was invited to a wedding, and I was going, and it was my friend, and she had known him since like high school, and they were older now. They're my age, and they're getting married. Keegan was the flower girl. She, her twins, who are grown now, are my godchildren. But she had known this guy since high school, and they had dated, and then they, went on with life, and then they got back together. So they've been married. They've been together 8 years. They've been married a year.
Okay.
So she calls me last week, and she's like, you're just never going to believe this. There's some insane shit going on over here. And I'm thinking she looked in his phone and he's cheating or something like that. Right. So, anyways, she's like, I started getting like suspicious of some things. Some things were really weird. Now he's a police officer. He's a police officer out of Inglewood, and she's been my good friend since we were like 15 and 16 years old. So, and I've been on vacation with them. I've grown to love him and know him and all of this. Right. So she starts getting suspicious, and she finds, some kind of deed, a house deed with a loan, a house loan, a mortgage that he's taken out. And it's got his name and then a woman's name, and it says that his spouse. And so she confronts him with it. She's like, what is this? Well, this is the mother of his child. He has a daughter who's younger, but just a little bit younger than Keegan. So somewhere in that age range. And he says, he had to help her out. He needed to help her out. And she's like, well, they were thinking of moving to Hawaii. They have been looking at property in Hawaii because her father lives there, and he's getting older, and and they are in Hawaii all the time. So she was looking for a property, and they were going to move there. And she was like, well, what if I needed your name for the deed and the mortgage, the loan, all of this? And he's like, I'm really sorry. I just had to help them out. So some other funny things happen, and she's got her handyman at her house doing some things, and he says that he's building a kitchen, redoing a kitchen for her husband. And she's like, where? And he's like, at the house in so-and-so in this other city that's not too far away. She's like, really? Now it's the same city that's on on this deed, because she had her mom's a realtor. So she had her mom look up the address, and it's the same city that this kitchen's being remodeled at. So she drives a Tesla.
Yeah.
And now she's like, okay, is he tracking like where I'm at? So she leaves her car at work, and she borrows another car, and she drives to this house. And who's there? But the wife and him.
Oh,
he is married. He is married to this woman. Now, just a year ago, he had this huge wedding with my friend.
Yeah.
Now we're sitting there going, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Now, she's like, I don't think he could file the marriage. Like, I don't think they would let him file the marriage license, would they? And I was like, I don't know. People do it, and then obviously it's illegal, and then you're in trouble for being married to two people. Or he never filed it, and they had this huge wedding.
Oh my gosh!
She's Greek, and her parents, especially her dad, he does not mess around. He's
Yeah.
the wrong guy to mess with.
Well, nobody messes around.
Deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
His pockets and his bank book are deep. I wouldn't mess with this man at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're just sitting there. And right before the wedding, so leading up to the wedding, they had to postpone it. And she was a mess. And he told her that he had to go away on an undercover mission thing for work because he's a police officer.
Is he a detective or a police officer? I mean, that's
a police officer.
Yeah, okay.
So, all of that was weird too, but he was gone for 30 days. He was gone
30
for 30
days.
And she delayed the wedding, which cost I don't know how much money.
A ton.
But the strange thing is his best man is also his partner at work.
Yeah.
So there's all these things of like, did they know? Has he been lying to everybody, or was he just lying to me? And all these people were in on it. So she's having to, seek legal and find out like what's going on. And like, how do you get divorced from somebody you're not really, maybe you're not really even legally married to, but you thought you were, and you've been sharing,
bank accounts,
bills and a life. And I mean, the shock of the century. The shock of the century. Oh my gosh. Double life.
First of all, very smart move with the car thing, by the way, because my wife just bought a Tesla. And when I look at the app, I know exactly where that car is, what radio station she's listening to, how fast she's going, everything. And so that was a smart move.
Well, now she's questioning the whole reason he got her the Tesla, right?
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, oh, now this all makes sense why he wanted a Tesla so bad.
Yeah, no kidding. So, oh my God. So here's a funny story. About 23 years ago, the San Diego Padres had a player on their team who literally won like Major League, like Humanitarian of the Year. And he's in spring training in Arizona with the Padres. And he had 2 wives, and they ran into each other in a grocery store in Arizona. It's during spring training. He had 2 families. And then when it came out,
though, right?
Yeah, well, the deal, one was in Pennsylvania, one was in San Diego. But in spring training, because they're married, they were both at spring training at the same time for 6 weeks. And they just happened to run each other in the grocery store. 2 women started talking. My husband plays baseball. So does mine. Mine plays for the Padres. So does mine. What's his name? That's my husband's name too. Boom. Padres cut the guy off the team and never played pro baseball again. And then he had to deal with that. But I don't understand anyone that would get themselves into that situation. Like, it's hard enough trying to maintain 1 marriage, let alone 2.
Right? People, you are not going to get away with this. You are eventually going to get caught. So like my question is, when they were going to move to Hawaii, then what?
Exactly.
Then what? And they were supposed to recently take a trip to Hawaii, leaving on the 25th of this month. And leading up to it, she's like, he caused a big fight. And she's like, now that looking back, he would do this. He would cause a fight over something in the past, and then he would take off. Wow. Well, apparently they got into this fight the week leading up to Hawaii, and he took off. Well, when she started comparing notes with the actual wife, or the first wife, I don't even know what you call them at this point. He was in Hawaii with that wife,
of course,
the week leading up. So he was going to be in Hawaii with one family, come home, get on a plane, and go to Hawaii again with the next family. Like, how does this work? And with this baseball player, was he actually legally married to both of them?
He was legally married to both.
So you can, because that was my thing. I
don't know how it works with computers and everything today and all that, but at the time he was able to pull it off. I mean, and he was supposed to be like the best guy, like the best guy in baseball, like the nicest guy going.
That's what's happening in this situation. He was like, make himself out to be the best guy. If you would ask me, I would have said she found herself such a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, so nice, the best. Her family loved him. I mean, everybody. So it's, it's this thing of now you have to find out, and is he going to go to jail? Is he going to lose his job? I mean, this is illegal. Or is it not 100%. Illegal? Never filed their marriage license.
It's illegal to be married to 2 people at one time.
Well, right. But I mean, if he never filed. So if you're in front of a priest and you get ordained.
Yeah.
Is that like, that's not legally married, right? Unless that marriage license is filed.
Yeah. Legally, you're supposed to be married to one person, and that's the first person. As far as I know, it has to be the first one. So I don't know what it would mean for her to get out. I don't know what her plan is. You know, I mean, she's a friend. If she wasn't a friend of yours, I'd have a lot more opinions of it. But I'd run for the hills. If this was a TV show, everybody watching would tell her, "You got to run for the hills." You'd go to his boss. You would turn him in, and he'd say, "We're done." You know, I mean, you know, the guy believes in family values so much that he has 2 families. I mean, it's it's the craziest thing. And unfortunately for her, her life's been turned upside down.
Completely turned upside down. And like, I'm so torn on like making somebody lose their job over stuff like this. But I mean, I guess if you scorned me, I might feel that way. But I always have a hard time with that because I just feel like I'm like a big church and state separated kind of thing.
Yeah,
You know, like
me
I
too.
don't believe you should mess with people's money no matter what and their job, their livelihood. But because he does have a daughter. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's got to be some consequences. Luckily, the wife, the first wife, um, is kind of had it with him too. So she's completely cooperating with my friend and talking, and they're comparing notes. So he's really in for it because
Wow.
you know, they're having a meeting of the minds, and
Yeah.
that you don't want to scorn women on your ass, that's for sure.
No kidding.
So she's getting a lot of information like that, but
Has she
and
gotten
it
an
all makes
attorney?
sense. Like I would say to her, why isn't the daughter ever over? Oh, because the mother of the daughter hates me, hates my guts, doesn't want the daughter near me. Nothing farther from the truth. This woman didn't even know about her. Didn't even know she
Wow.
existed until they met
Wow.
that day outside of the house. Then his mother and his brother were supposed to be coming to the wedding, and the daughter was supposed to be a flower girl alongside my daughter. At the last minute, the little girl was having stage fright, he said, and was too shy, didn't want to do it. Fully lie. Said that morning that the mother broke her ankle, or like the day before, something like this, broke her ankle. And so the brother was taking care of her. So they weren't going to be able to make it to the wedding. And he couldn't find a wheelchair. He couldn't figure it all out. So the mother and the brother weren't going to be able to make it to the wedding. No, they
Oh my
have no
God.
idea about my friend. They had no idea there was a wedding happening. And it was
That
so
is
weird
amazing.
because, yeah. And when my friend pulled up to this house and she was like, who are you? And they were like, I'm his wife. I'm his wife. And then he comes out of the house and they were like, is this a joke? Are we being punked? Is this,
Yeah.
what is going on? And he ran for it. He jumped in the car and took off.
Really? Oh my gosh. Did she go and get an attorney? Like, what is her plan now?
Well, of course she's going to, I think she's meeting with him tomorrow or something. She's meeting with an attorney. I don't want to give away any of her game plan, but of
Okay.
course,
Good. Yeah. Yeah. No
because
problem.
you have to figure out like how do you separate stuff and like how does this work? And you know, is in California, you know how there's that thing where if you live with somebody long enough, if you
Yeah.
have that, what is it called where
Yeah.
you become you be
Yeah. It becomes basically a legal marriage anyway. Yeah.
yeah.
But
There's a name for it, and it's not coming to me right now. It's escaping me, but common law. There's a common law
yeah,
marriage.
common law.
I mean, there's so much to figure out, and like, and how much does she want to deal with? You know what I mean?
What did
So
she tell her? Just curious now. What did she tell her family? You know, I
the
mean,
truth
what did she tell? I mean, well, I'm imagine they didn't take it very well, especially her father.
sure didn't. No, and luckily, you know, she's from a big family, so she's got a lot of support, and she's just really lucky in that way. And you know, a lot of people advising her, big smart family, so she's got a lot of support. But no, everybody's completely shocked, completely devastated, completely furious. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and if anybody's listening and knows who the heck I'm talking about, call me. Call me with any call me if you knew anything. No, no, I don't want to be involved, but
No.
it is it's mind-blowing. And
Yeah.
and he was like on social media with her. Like there's so many bad moves in the same state. I mean, not even that far away. In the same state, going on social media, going on my social media, you know, letting me take pictures, like not hiding very much. And it's just
That's amazing.
very ballsy.
Yeah, like if I was him, I wouldn't have a Facebook or an Instagram or anything. Just
I
I don't know.
know.
I mean, amazing. Yeah, if it was I don't know. I had we had a family friend who, where the daughter was being beaten by her husband. They're married 7 years, and he constantly beat her up. And when the father and brother found out that she was being punched in the face or slammed into walls and stuff, they paid the husband a visit, and they took care of business, old school, and they didn't kill the guy, but they beat him enough where made him file for divorce. You got to get out of her life, kind of a deal. And I know maybe it doesn't sound right, but I'm telling you what, if that was my sister, same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're going to touch my sister? Are you kidding me? She's 100 pounds and you're 230 pounds and you're going to beat the hell out of her. This is emotionally scarring for her. I mean, completely flipped her life upside down. I feel so bad. I'm not saying this guy needs to get his ass kicked. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying this guy did something horrible enough where he doesn't need to be in her life anymore. Hopefully she's smart enough not to forgive. This is insane.
No, she's not. I don't think she's the forgiving type like that. And it's also scary too because he is LAPD.
Yeah.
And has talked a lot to her about brotherhood and them having this solidarity, on and on and on. But listen, the guy's a liar. Who knows? Like, who knows what is really true of anything? But so she's kind of got that part that she's scared of a little bit too, because I don't know, people are crazy. Because I said to her, I said, you have to be really careful because you don't know where the crazy starts and where the crazy ends.
Exactly right. You can't judge crazy, right? That's what we say all the time.
Yeah, and you can't get inside or have the same thought process or think anything like them because they have this whole thing going on. And I mean, I just imagine the stress of the stress financially, emotionally, physically, to be running back and forth between two families like that.
And have a full-time job.
I
want to know how he was going to get 30 days off from work. That's what's kind of crazy too.
And
like, did you notice he didn't have any vacation time? That
well, so I said to her, didn't I sit next to the best man at the wedding? And I did. And we talked all night. And at the reception, people were talking about how the wedding had been delayed because he had this like work thing. So you would have thought somebody who he worked with would have said what or or he was at work, unless they were in on it, or like all of it is such a mystery. And so if this guy was the best man and was in on it, how evil does the evil run in all of this, right? Like,
couldn't agree more. Yeah, you're right. No, you're absolutely right.
It's so tricky and so dodgy and so scandalous. It's like a TV movie over here.
Yeah, it is. It's better than it. It's better than anything I'm watching.
Unbelievable. And I mean, I'm so sorry for her broken heart, and she'll get over it. I said to her, I think you're going to get over this quicker than you think, because it's not like I believe he loved her. I believe he loved her more than the first wife. I do.
Yeah.
Because he did spend more time with her. But the thing is that it's not like, oh, you caught him cheating and he's in love with someone else. It's not like that. It's just so deceptive and manipulative and all those things that I hope, my thought process is that she'll be able to get over it easier, because she'll just be like, this is just garbage. Let me ask you,
why is it always in these stories, it's always the men that have 2 marriages? It's never a woman that has 2 marriages.
I don't think women are this stupid.
Well,
listen, I'm not saying women don't have affairs. I'm not saying that women aren't at fault and that women don't have affairs and all of that. I'm not.
It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. And for what? Like you said, one wife or one husband is enough. Like 2? If I got any time away, I'd want to be by myself. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I can't imagine the stress of going or be so afraid I'd call one of the girls by the wrong name. It just come out.
Yeah. Or just any slip up, you know, and like how dumb to put your name on a loan. I just, there's so many bad moves he made. I just, bad. Just
it is that. Yeah, that's tough. So, okay, a couple things here as I think about it. So I know, all right, going back to before I was married, I went through one stretch where I dated, this is gonna sound bad. I dated 4 girls at one time.
Oh
Okay.
God.
They weren't my girlfriends, but I was dating 4 different girls at one time. Let me
Okay.
tell you, I did it for 1 month. It was so exhausting. It was ridiculous. And guess what, Nicole? Every time a movie came out, I saw that same movie 4 times in one weekend. I'd see it on a Saturday afternoon or a Friday night and a Sunday afternoon and a Saturday night. I was like, oh my God. And if a movie wasn't good, but they all wanted to see that movie that was talked about, I still had to go to that same movie 4 times. And it sucked. And I was like, this is exhausting. And it was really hard. And so that right away after 1 month, I'll never do that again, let alone date 2 girls at one time. But to marry him is insane. And now I know I have people in my life that probably cheat, that probably have, girls on the side and all that stuff. I think people that know me never share those stories with me because they know that's not the way I run. Like they just go, Dave won't think this is cool. And whether it's going to a massage parlor or having a girlfriend, no one ever shares those stories with me because they just know that's probably the end of the friendship. That's just not the way. I mean, I'm as boring as can be. I'm just kind of, it's either right or wrong. And if you got to make it gray, then it's wrong. If you can talk yourself into the gray area, it's wrong. And
It's
so,
wrong.
but I think I just have friends that say, you know what, I'm not going to share stories with him because he's going to end the friendship. And I would end the
Well, that's
friendship with people
she
like
was
that.
saying that because I was like, "Well, what about friends?" And she's like, "I know, I thought the same thing." And so she
Yeah.
asked the wife, "Do you know this person? Do you know this person?" And she kind of knew them, but when she had asked for their phone numbers or whatnot from him, he wouldn't give them to her. And
Wow.
she hasn't seen them. So I think a lot of his friendship circle just thought that my friend was the wife. And
Yeah.
like you, he didn't let them in on the secret because they would not think it was cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah.
would not think that that's okay, especially not today in
No.
2024. You're not allowed to do this stuff. What a
Especially when there's a kid involved. There's a kid
well,
involved.
yeah. Yes, and my friend has kids, although they're older, it's still
Yeah.
like that he was like a stepdad for them. It's been 8 years, 8. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
so they
amazing.
were younger when he got involved. So there's kids plural involved in this. And
Okay. Where was he at the holidays? Did he stay at work? Where was he on Thanksgiving
he
and
would
Christmas?
do both. And, he would do both. He would do daytime or something at 1 and then go to my friends' families, like, at night for the stuff. And lucky for
Wow.
him, everybody was, like, fine with these days and hours and all the in between, he was at
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Because
So,
police have different hours all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he was working nights, he works night shifts,
Yeah.
and then driving out to the first wife's, taking the little girl to school in the morning, spending time with the first wife and everything, and then going to my friends. Like,
Holy
he
cow.
had a whole system. I don't think this guy
Wow.
slept. I'm like,
No.
"What fun? What fun are you having?" There seems like 0 fun in all of this, but maybe
You
some
know
people get
what's
off on the deceit. I don't know.
the excitement? I have no idea. All right. So here you go. All right. 2 questions on this. One is, could you imagine if he, for some reason he passed away and she found out the day of his funeral when 2 wives show up to his funeral? That would have been awful. And
God.
then the other thing is it possible for a person to love 2 people at one time? I guess the
Yes.
answer is yes. Yeah.
Yes, 2 things can be true. Well, I said to her, "Good thing you found out now instead of, like, right as you what if you bought a property in Hawaii and were
No
planning
kidding.
this move and he either made the move with you and now you're out there with him and whatever, or he backed out, like, at the
Yeah.
last minute or something like that. Like, how would have that worked? Like,
Yeah.
how is this working?" And I'm like, "You never asked to see a divorce document?" Because he had dates on when he was
Yeah.
divorced, how amount and date that he had to start alimony. Like, he had this and he gave her dates, and I was like, "You
Wow.
didn't ask to see any paperwork?" She's like, "I trusted him. I've known him
I
since we
wouldn't
were
either.
kids."
Yeah, I don't
And then
blame
I'm
her.
like,
I wouldn't
"Where's
either.
the marriage certificate? Is it in your wedding book?" She's like, "I haven't even put the wedding book together. Everything's like in a box to be done. I haven't done that yet." And I'm like, "Oh God," he was counting on her being disorganized like this or trusting
Yeah.
like this because I for sure would have asked to see it.
I'm certain she could go down to the courthouse or Department of Records and ask for a marriage certificate and see it
I'm
doesn't
sure you
exist.
could do it online.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
right.
even think you have
Do
to
it
go
online.
anywhere anymore, right? You
Yeah,
can
true.
um I know, I was tempted to do it myself because she's not very computer, like, she's not big on the computer. So she won't like, she hand wrote all of her wedding invitations. I was like,
Oh,
"What
wow.
is wrong with you?" Even the
Yeah.
people's name and address, and she's, like, asking people to send, your name and address. I'm like, "You don't have an address book in your phone? You don't have a printer? Like, what
Wow.
are you doing?"
Yeah.
They hand wrote all these hundreds of things. I was
Wow.
like even, like, the wedding invitation, I'm like, you can have them printed online and just
Yeah.
mailed to people."
Exactly.
"Oh, I don't wanna do all that." "Oh, you don't wanna do all that, but you wanna sit down and handwrite it." Okay. So,
Oh my
she's
gosh.
not the one that's gonna get on the internet and start
Yeah.
finding things out like that, but I will.
Oh my gosh. Good for you.
I mean, but,
Yeah.
like, can you imagine? Can you imagine this is your world? Has anybody else dealt with this? You've gotta write to us. You've gotta
Yeah.
leave us a
I'm
message
curious to know
if
too.
you have dealt with anything like this or have a friend. I mean, this is so wild to me. When I just thought he was gonna be cheating or he was gonna be, like, laundering money.
Yeah.
That's where I went, and when she said he's been living this total double life. It took me to this movie I did with Jack Wagner. It was like a TV movie, and it was based on a true story of this pilot who had different wives in different states.
Yeah.
And he eventually got
Yeah.
caught, but he had up to like 4 and 5 wives. And he
Wow.
all was legally married to all of them, and that's why he got into trouble. So I don't know. I don't know if he filed what a mistake if he filed that second marriage certificate.
Wow.
What a dummy.
Okay, hold on. Now you just said something that blew my mind. I didn't know you did a movie with the Jack Wagner.
I did. I
All right,
did. I
now you
played,
got.
like, his young wife in Hawaii.
Is that right? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I got to see this movie. What's the name
I
of the
c
movie?
I forget.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I
So okay,
forget.
now I got a Jack
Oh, I
Wagner
know. I think
question.
it's called Frequent Flyer.
Okay.
I think it's
All
called
right.
Frequent Flyer. Yeah, and
All right.
it's a true story. Yeah,
All right.
of a pilot who was doing this.
I think I told
What
you
is
this.
it
I'm a
called?
huge general. What?
What is it called when you marry 2 people?
Um.
Bigamy? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. You're a
God, we're like
bigamist, right?
you and I are like Dumb and Dumber. What?
I know. I don't know what's happening. My memory seems to fly out all the time when it's right at
Me
the tip of
too.
my
It
tongue.
gets
I
worse
can't
and
get it.
worse every day.
You have an excuse. You just went through a bunch of rounds of chemo. I have zero excuse. I don't know what to tell you.
'Cause it's not polygamy. It's oh my god.
Bigamy, isn't it? Bigamist.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
All right.
illegal. So if he filed that, okay, let's hear your question.
All right. Here's my because I told you this. I'm a huge General Hospital fan. Have been since I was 7 years old. I used to watch my grandmother every summer. And so Jack Wagner, obviously on General Hospital. Good guy, bad guy.
Um, good enough guy.
Okay.
This was back. It's been a while. This has been a long time. So this was probably in the 90s, I want to say maybe
Yeah.
late 90s.
Okay.
And things were a little bit different there, but no, nice enough guy.
Yeah, good deal.
I have
I'm
no
glad to hear it.
complaints.
I heard he was supposed to be like one of these golfers that always enters these celebrity golf tournaments. He loves golf, and I was just curious. I've done a lot of celebrity golf tournaments, and I've never interviewed them, but I've interviewed a bunch of other people when we're doing shows at the same time. But I never ran across. I was just curious that you said that. It's one of those things over the years on my radio show that I've been teased about being a Jack Wagner fan, and so his even his music and everything else. And so in General Hospital, I don't know if you were a General Hospital fan, but he married his wife on the show in real life. He married Felicia on the show.
Oh, I love that.
And then they're now divorced now, but at the same time, I was going, how cool is this? That he married his TV wife. But I was just, when you dropped Jack Wagner, I was shocked. Blew me away right there. Two of my favorite people of the 80s right there, you and Jack Wagner.
So funny.
How about that?
That's so funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah.
That is so. Okay, so now that your friend's going through this, are you like all your energy is going to this person to make sure your friend's okay?
No. Yes, I'm there for her to make sure she's okay for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like getting my hands in this at all. She's got a lot of family to back her up and that will handle things. There's no reason for me to get involved. But I'm here for her. Yeah, for emotionally to be a friend for sure. I don't know if you saw, but they released the totally switch of subjects here. They released the trailer for the Baywatch documentary yesterday.
I saw it. I was going to ask you about it. I was really excited.
really excited. Listen, I don't think the trailer really kind of reflects what the documentary is actually like, but it gave you that feeling of like getting excited about Baywatch. And there were so many comments about where's David Hasselhoff. So the thing is people have to understand David Hasselhoff is in it. And it's just the politics of filmmaking is just so beyond. So the reason he's not in the trailer is because he didn't want to be in the trailer or do any promotion for the documentary unless he saw it. He wanted to see and watch the whole thing. Well, it's against ABC's standards to let anybody see the whole thing. They won't allow it. So up until it was supposed to be released Monday, up until Monday morning, they were still trying to get him. And it just was a stalemate. And it was that was it. So yes, he's in the documentary. Yes, all of that. We sat down for an interview, but he's not in the promo because he wanted to see he wanted to watch the whole project before promoting it. I understand both sides. I just think that he needed to take a leap of faith. It would have been nice if he'd taken a leap of faith that everybody else was on board with this. It was it's a positive project. It's a beautiful project. I wish he had just gone with it, but everything works out the way it's supposed to. And that's okay. It's still going to be, it's still doing great. The trailer has gotten so many hits. So they're very happy. It's performing already. So I hope that's a good sign for good things to come. But I just wanted to clear that up. Yes, the Hoff is in the documentary.
So, a couple things. One is I'm so happy that it looked great. You know, everything when it was released. This is the deal. Nicole told me about this before we even started this show, before we started Perfectly Twisted, and the fact how much time she has put into it. And if you've watched the Perfectly Twisted episodes and you've seen the guests that have been on the show, a lot of work has gone into this by many people, and especially, you know, Nicole, you have talked about this for a long time, and can we get this going? And it's to the finish line. But to see the people that have been on the show as guests, your friends and the people that you've worked with, and to see how much pride they take in it, really was exciting. As I'm watching the social media platforms on them and how happy they are to present it, made me feel really good to go. It's not only good for you, Nicole, but it's good for all the people you brought into it. And I couldn't be more proud of you. And also, I'm so happy for the people that I've gotten to know that you've introduced me to, that they're really excited about what's happening. So it kind of feels like all your friends won in the same day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking at it from the outside, it feels like all your friends won on the same day.
Yes, and disclaimer, I had nothing to do with the editing, okay? So, with the people whose interviews didn't make it or there's only pieces of it and whatnot, it's ABC's editing. Just like with the trailer, you know, like they didn't use me and they didn't use Erica Laniak. Like they didn't use certain people like in that trailer, and then they used other people who are not even in the documentary over and over. And people have to understand that it's not a like a depiction of what what it looks like. A trailer is simply a commercial to get you excited to tune in. It really, just like when you watch the Bravo trailers, they edit things together and you think something's going to happen and that's not the way it unfolds at all. This is the art. It's making trailers is a whole entirely different art form than the film and the TV making. It is separate. A lot of times these editors don't even know what the story is or who the people are. They just edit it to make a good trailer. Like for example, there was a trailer cut and Matt said to them, "That's not the right person. You're talking about one person and you're showing a different female." And they were like, "Oh, we didn't know, we just put it in." So they had to like switch some things up. They just make what looks good and they think audience is going to pull an audience in. And what is free. That's the other thing. They have to use free use. And they're limited on their footage that they can use because otherwise it gets very costly to purchase, footage like that, and it's not worth it. So all these factors go in, and it's just something to get the audience excited. It's not to be taken too seriously.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And so you're only a few weeks out. When you watch it, it's August 28th, correct?
Yeah, August 28th. Okay. 4 episodes.
When it comes out, are you going to watch it with just you and your daughter? Or are you going to watch it with a group of people that are involved?
I mean, probably if I'm not like working doing promotion for it. I'll probably watch it by myself. I don't know if all of it's appropriate for Keegan because she's only 13. But I mean, I think the first episode should be okay. The first episode is sort of just like a recap, getting you refamiliar with Baywatch. The second one, it starts to get a little bit more. 3 and 4 is really meaty and where the real stories come in. So it's a real build. So maybe the first one will be okay for her to watch. But we are going to do like a big party on the 26th. So, but yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Should I have a viewing party? No, I probably want to watch it by myself, like comfortable and like
no distractions.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's okay. So let's say things go extremely well and people love it. Like this Karate Kid thing on Netflix, they brought back Cobra Kai. Is there room to do more?
I don't know about, definitely not. No, I don't think documentary, but it does open up for, the Baywatch producers to maybe pull their project from where they're at and go sell it again. But there is a lifeguard show. I don't know if you've seen the trailers for it that's coming out. It's looks amazing. And they shoot it in Hawaii, which I think is so smart. It's so beautiful. But yeah, I mean, yes, it could. Anything is possible. This is the land of dreams.
Yeah.
So
true.
Of course, anything's possible. So, power to them.
Good.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal. All right.
Also, if anybody watches or still looks at Us Weekly, they came to me and did like a product thing with me. And it's like, what's in her bag, and asked me about all my products that are in my bag. So Us Weekly, it's digital. You can see the digital magazine, and you can also see the paper copy. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of fun because I was like, oh, you want to know what I'm using? I love that.
Good deal.
Super cute. So check that
out.
All
right, I just have one reality show question for you.
Yeah.
The New Jersey Housewives, they watched the last episode together. Does it make you feel like, all right, we're officially done? That show's not coming back?
Well, there's still one episode.
I didn't know there's one more. I didn't know.
Yeah, there's one more. So because remember, reunions can be 1 to 2 to 3 parts.
Oh yeah.
In Jersey, it's usually 2 or 3 parts, the reunion. So there's one more. That was the first one. I mean, I thought that was creative. That was better than them all sitting together screaming.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, because that would have been completely, I thought Andy or whoever came up with this idea was pretty genius, because I didn't know how I was going to, when it started, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And I did. Did you? I thought it was
did like it.
fair.
I wasn't looking forward to watching it. I was like, I'm gonna watch it because it's on, but I usually not a fan of that kind of format, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I thought it was fair. It gave everybody a chance to speak, gave everybody an opportunity to defend themselves without it being too much, without it being screaming, without Andy having to yell, shut up. I thought that, and I thought it was really interesting to have them wait to watch that last episode. And my takeaway from it is Teresa will lie, ignore, turn a blind eye to keep her narrative facts when it's not. She was not going to admit she was wrong about Margaret. She is going to stick to it. And I'm sure inside she's furious with that Jackie, but she is not going to let it get to her because she doesn't want to be wrong about Margaret. And it is, I'm done. This is no longer fun. Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
When you can't go, I'm sorry. Like when the one group of ladies sat down, and that Jen Fessler and the blonde, her name is escaping me right now. The blonde.
You put me on the spot. I'm the one that goes to you for these names. Yes.
Well, they squashed it right
across the table. Yeah.
Yeah, they squashed it right away, like grown women. She said, "Okay, when I watched it, yes, that Jen pushed you. She did." So, and I really liked that, because that's the way it should be. Okay, I was wrong, and then it's over. But Teresa will never do that, and therefore, it's just boring and gross at that point.
I'm with you, and I'm with you.
Yeah, I liked it, and I'm really excited to see the next one now, because I think it's.
I'm glad you told me. I would have missed it. Yeah, I'm glad you just told me. I 100% would have missed it. All
No,
right,
it's like a
good.
sit down with each of them, I think. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Good deal.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to the mailbag. Again, if you have a question for Nicole, you want to ask her a question, just go to perfectlytwistedpod.com. Ask the question right there, top of the mailbag. We have 5 questions for you, and they're from Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
It says, Nicole, what is your relationship like with Pamela Anderson?
Really none. I mean, when I see her, it's really friendly, it's nice. I don't think many people have a relationship with her. I think she's very isolated with her family and sort of closed off. Now she lives out on an island in in Canada. I there's not a lot of, and she surrounds herself with people, that work for her.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to get in touch with her. She's just very guarded and lives with a lot of walls around her. So I mean, I like her a lot. I think she's just a really sweet lady. We always got along great. When I see her, we get along fine, but there's no other
Yeah.
communication.
Do you think she's, I mean, I don't know, some people, whatever career it is, whether you're an actor or whatever you do, that at some point you just said, all right, I'm done with that. Do you think she's on purpose kind of separating herself from the business, or is it her? No. Like if the
No.
right
I mean, she
opportunity came,
definitely
we'd
had a
see
big
Pam Anderson again.
she had a big plan to do that documentary and then start going makeup free. That was a whole planned out thing. You don't just
Yeah.
do that. So that doesn't just happen like that. That was so no, she's definitely brainstorming and working on her image and coming up with things to stay
Okay.
relevant and all of that. And she did a great job. I'm not,
Yeah.
great job, but no, I think that's for sure. But no, she's always kind of been like that, just really closed
Okay.
off.
Interesting. Okay. Next question from Lisa. Nicole, what is your favorite social media app?
I would have to say Instagram for sure. And then I'm recently making my way over to TikTok, which I haven't had enough time to really put into it yet, but I like that. I think that's a fun, fast. I find myself being more of a viewer on TikTok.
Me too.
Um, you know, is- so but I would say for the most part, my go-to is Instagram, hands down.
Yeah, I do too. It's funny. Anytime I introduce older people to Instagram, they're always the Facebook people. And I say, you got to go to Instagram. I go, they're owned by the same people. You got to check it out. And then best thing ever. Like constantly,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they send me a million videos a day because of it,
Yeah.
but have you seen this one? Have you seen this one? I get a million of those after I introduce someone to Instagram, but I'm with you. I think Instagram has the best setup right now.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
TikTok, I don't even know I've never made a TikTok, but I find myself as a viewer as well. I think I'm a little paralyzed with TikTok. I'm afraid to make the jump into it.
Yeah, well, it's a whole separate thing, right? Like, it's a whole different thing. Like, Facebook and Instagram, like, I post on Instagram and then it trickles down to Facebook.
Yeah.
Or there's certain things I'll put on Facebook if it's just like small personal questions, but like most of the stuff goes on Instagram. But TikTok is an entirely different beast, and the videos that you put on there are different than. So it doesn't. They don't all streamline. So it's yeah, it takes effort. I just don't have I haven't yet had the time to
Yes.
put into it. But yes,
Yes.
I'm a good viewer on TikTok, but Instagram.
Third question from Lisa. Are romantic relationships on the set of a movie or TV show common?
Yes. Oh my gosh,
They
yes.
are.
They're so common. You're working in tight quarters for long hours and long periods of time with people, and they're human beings. We're animals, and people, they, like survival of the fittest, like almost, it's like they attract to each other when you're that working that close together. It's just like offices. I think it's even more than like offices, because offices, you're focused on work, hopefully, then
Yeah.
you're doing your work, so it's separate, everybody's separate. But when you're on a set, everybody's working on the same project, everybody's talking about this, it's, and you have more free time to socialize, and it's just a lot of hours with the same, in close
Yeah.
quarters with people, and it, yes, and you all have this thing in common, and affairs and love stories, and
Yeah.
all of that happens.
There was an actor, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I remember his wife said, the story was his wife said, you can work with anybody in Hollywood but Angelina Jolie. Like that was the line, because number one, she's attractive. Two is, there was a history, and just she didn't want to take the chance in her marriage of saying you can work with any actress in Hollywood, just not her. That was the move.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I think it's tough. Like if let's say my wife was an actress and I'm watching her kiss a person in whatever, one of the Christmas movies, anything, could be anything. It would drive me a little nuts. I understand there's a paycheck involved and it's a job and it might not mean anything and there are 30 people watching, but yeah, it would make me uncomfortable, I think.
I
Just like I think
know.
vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. And also, it's not necessarily the other actor, there's so like to limit it to like you can't work with Angelina Jolie. Well, the problem is that there might be the new next upcoming
Yeah,
Angelina, you just
sure.
never know who is actually gonna like steal, their attention. And it might not always be the actors. It might be it might be the makeup and hair lady. It might be the camera person. It might be the director. I mean, you just like so to put limits on it is a little silly. But it can happen anywhere.
You know what's strange as a viewer, I always like asking these questions because obviously, I watch a lot of TV and I watch a lot of movies, and you're on the other side. Is when you watch the chemistry and you go, okay, you feel chemistry and going, oh, you could see like almost like you're disappointed they aren't really together in real life because they sold it so well on the screen. And it's weird when you see two actors that are really good at what they do. I'll give you an example. In like Ocean's 11, I thought Julia Roberts and George Clooney had a great chemistry. But
Yeah.
when Julia Roberts' love interest was Brad Pitt in The Mexican, it was terrible. Like it wasn't a match. It felt like more brother sister. It didn't feel like these guys aren't really in love with each other. It didn't. They couldn't sell it. It was very strange.
Well, that's a lot. That's why a lot of times, movie productions, they used to like do chemistry tests, and to see how well the people, get along. And
Yeah,
it's important. It is. It's just really important. And that's sort of like, yeah, being the spouse in that situation. It's like, does your spouse have chemistry with this other person? Like, what does that mean? Like,
yeah,
it's sort of like, are you kind of like good with this person? Okay, now
yeah.
go spend time, go make out, go pretend to make love. Go be in love for months and
Yeah,
months and months. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. All right, here
Yeah.
we go. Next question, Nicole. Have you ever dated someone you met on a movie set?
I don't know about dated. I don't know if I go
That's
as
funny.
far as I dated. Um, I mean, obviously Corey and Haim and I dated when we were really young, but we didn't meet on a movie set. We met, in real life.
Yeah,
Um, I'm trying to think. Yeah. I mean, I nobody like became my boyfriend from a movie set that I can think of.
yeah. Okay.
No, 'cause I feel the same way. I don't really want someone that's like off on sets. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's that we have too much in common. I don't know. Um, and to be honest, like a lot of actors are really kind of vain and like really
yeah.
self-involved, and I'm not attracted to that kind of person. So, it's not really ever been for me. So I don't really think so. No.
I remember I listened to Jim Belushi being interviewed one time, and he made a comment about his first marriage not working because he was married to an actress, and he married the second wife, and he said he had a great marriage. She wasn't in the business, and he told her day one, he goes, "There's one mirror in this house. That mirror's for me," meaning that I'm the star.
Yeah.
And he said it kind of needed to be that way. You couldn't have two people that needed to be the star. In case one career is taken off and one career is fizzling, it messed up the chemistry all the time. You had one person happy and one person unhappy, and then the person that was happy felt bad. The other person's unhappy, and it tears things apart. That it's hard to have
Interesting.
two actors married at the same time to make it work.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it can work and it does work, but it seems like more times not, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's true. That's true. All right. Last question from Lisa. Nicole, what's your favorite quality in a man?
Um, Well, I really kind of have two. They have to have a sense of humor. That's I have to be laughing. We have to get each other. There has to be that. But that is not going to get you too far either, just that. So there has to be a feeling of like you feel safe with them, like that
Yeah.
they are gonna and I don't know if it's like smart, if I like them smarter than me. It's not like I want to be taken care of either, but I need to feel like if everything goes to shit, they're gonna handle things, you know.
Yeah.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
safe. If somebody comes into the house, they're gonna protect me.
Yeah.
If I don't know, if we lose everything, are they going to be able to rebuild it? Do they have ideas? Are they like constantly being productive? Things like that. Like I like, I guess it's like, and I hate this term, but like a manly man, like a strong,
Yeah.
smart guy who takes care of stuff. Like
Yeah.
that is my number one with a sense of humor. And they can't be either or. It's got to be, it's got to be that. That's my unicorn.
There you go. There
Guy
you
who
go.
can handle things and also is funny.
There you go. All
Yeah.
right, that was great. Lisa, appreciate the questions. Again, if you have a question for Nicole, all you have to do is write in perfectlytwistedpod.com. The mailbag's at the top of the page, and we'll get your questions on there. But that was awesome. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. I love it. Love it. And if you guys can hit that like button while you're right here, we really love that. And we will catch you next time.